Right. We're good. Okay. I like it. Let's get started. This is the Wednesday, April 1st meeting of the San Luis Obispo County Flood Control and Water Conservation District Water Resources Advisory Committee. And we'll first start out with doing introductions. Tom Burhan, District 4.
I'm Melissa Papa, I'm the resident here.
Matt Watkins, District 3 alternate.
Jim Harder-Roshan, District 3, representing District 3.
Jeff Brooks, Templeton Community Services District. City of Snow Water Resources.
Mary Van Ryan.
Hi, Mary.
I need love to so I need love to program to see.
Doug Rosevart, Heritage Ranch, CFD, Long Night, so Associates, CSD.
All right, getting starting over here.
Shelley Combs, County San Luis Obispo Public Works Department. Christine Mulholland, Environmental and
Scientific, very green environmental.
Okay.
I guess we're large.
Dominic Rock, Coastal San Luis Obispo. Mike Boswell, City of San Luis Obispo, Council Member, alternate for January.
Sarah Galt, hydrologist with frequency position and environmental horticulture.
Back row.
Matt Cook, Golden State Water and Associates. Steve Simpson, Shannon, San Juan Water District.
He has been EPC.
All right. Did we miss anybody in the room? Oh,
yeah, Tamara Parent, San Miguel Community Service District.
Joey Style, County Public Works.
Brendan Clark, County Public Works.
And for the folks online, I can go ahead and
yeah, please go ahead, Joey.
for the attendees online, I will call your name and please feel free to introduce yourself. Thank you, Tamara. Next we have Toby Moore.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Toby Moore, Water Resource Manager at Golden State Water Company.
Josh Porter.
Josh Porter, County of SLO Public Works.
I believe Tristan Reaper.
Tristan Reaper, Cambria CSD alternate.
Jim Green.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Jim Green, Cambria CSD.
Matthew Scudato.
Oh yeah, hi. This is Matt Scudato, Santa Barbara County Water Agency.
Jenny Williamson.
Jenny Williamson, County Public Works, Water Resources.
All right, I believe that's everyone online.
Okay, we had one person come in, David.
David Grader, District 4 alternate.
Right. Did we miss anybody? Not. All right. Well, then we'll go to approval of the December 4th WRAC meeting minutes. Before I take a motion, I want to thank Christine for being the chairperson in my absence.
Yes, thank you.
Eric, you had your hand up.
Yeah, they are excellent except for one little spelling thing. So under 6, ongoing updates, B, drop monitor summary, 3rd paragraph, I recommended 2 Substack websites. And the first one, the word biotic is spelled correctly with pump, and it's the same word biotic with regulation, not biotech. This is Anastasia Makaryeva's website, and some amazing research is going on relative to the impact of intact forests on the not just microclimate, but the macroclimate on a continental scale. And I'd also, just parenthetically, I would also recommend a website out below. It's called the Climate Water Project. That's another Substack.
Very good. Was that correct? Any other corrections there?
The one correction is change the word biotech to biotic. It's biotic
Yes.
in both places.
With that correction, are you willing to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I will make that motion. That's correct.
Is there a second? Second, Dominic. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll abstain since I was absent. All right, we'll move on to election of the chair and the vice chair. So I am willing to stand for chair again if you'll have me. We'll open nominations for the chairperson. Christine.
I nominate Tom to continue as our chair. I second.
Two. Are there other nominations? Like a little competition? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. All right, nominations for vice chair. I will nominate Christine Mahone.
Oh, I'll second.
Thank you. I shall accept the nomination.
Are there other nominations? If not, then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you, Christine. So, on then to item number 4.
Oh, it's so fast over here.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Got a lot of new energy for the new year. Submitting the annual report to the District Board of Supervisors. If you have a copy of the agenda packet, the draft letter, and the actual report, which is just a couple pages sort of outlining in brief form our activities for 2025, are attached. And I will consider a motion for any modifications or approval to send to the board. Christine.
I appreciate the work that staff and Tom have done to present this to us. I saw have no issues with anything that I read. And unless there are other comments, I move that we submit this annual report to the District Board of Supervisors.
I will second with the vouching for its accuracy. My one comment is an observation that often in past years, these reports have included specific recommendations we've given. And mostly what we have here is receiving information. There are recommendations being solicited less than they used to be.
I think we have a number of recommendations that are in the summary of meetings. The budget, the IRWM work we did. I think we also had the state water policies. So those votes are noted here.
So those did include the making of recommendations, and were the recommendations accepted by the board and acted on?
I believe they adopted the policy updates, and they did approve the staff recommendation regarding the integrated regional water management grant, the project removal and replacement. So that was all moved forward. Yeah.
And again, I compliment the accuracy of this, but I do have a formatting request for future years that in future years, it would be, I think, helpful to us to see what specific recommendations came out of each action and a track record on to what extent those recommendations were followed or modified at the board level. I think that would be a good. But in terms of what was expected this year, this was a very good, accurate delivery. So my second stands.
Thank you, Eric. Any other comments or thoughts on the submission to the Board of Supervisors? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of forwarding the report within a cover letter to the Board of Supervisors, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. So we will move on then to our next item. Find it. Receive updates from the CSD relevant to their agency. So CSDs, this is your time to shine. And we will start.
I'll introduce Slow.
Oh, yeah. Yes, go right ahead with Brent.
As a brief introduction, this is something we haven't done in a while, but in our bylaws, it mentions that or says that members are encouraged to provide an update on water resources issues relevant to their group or agency at least once a year. But when we have a number of topics and things going on, last year, for example, there were a number of staff, and, internal led, projects and programs going on at the county that we were presenting. And so we weren't, we didn't check in on all the member groups, and we have CSDs, we have cities, we have our other water purveyors, that kind of lumped in a group. We have our at-large folks, we have our supervisory reps, and members of the public. And so, there's different things going on. Water resources issues look different for everyone. So I think one of the things Tom and I discussed was this year, bringing this item back. And so we'll start with the CSDs. This is intended to be like a 2 to 5 minute, can we call April 1st the beginning of the year still? The year's, going on now, and things are set. So maybe goals or what projects you're working on, or different things you're trying to accomplish here in the short to medium term is kind of the idea. Or what kind of problems are we trying to solve? A lot of us, from an agency standpoint, have the same problems, the same regulations, and it's good to connect. And if there's an opportunity to share knowledge and work together, that's always fun and good. So that's part of the point of this. And yeah, we have a nice little list here, and we can go alphabetical if you like. So I think online we have Cambria CSD. So Jim, I'll put you on the spot and you can go first to give a little brief update.
Sounds great. Yeah, I'll tee it off here. Our biggest thing that we've got done was approval from the Planning Commission back on February 26th for our coastal development permit for our water reclamation facility. Of course, that received 6 appeals, so we'll be back in front of the Board of Supervisors June 16th to rehash out some of those appeals. Also, we have a 2-tank tear down and replacement project that's going on. So tank 2, the first of the 2 tanks has been fully commissioned, and we received authorization from DDW and amendment to our permit for operation. So that's fantastic. We've got about another 5 or 6 months to go on the 2nd tank, and demolition will begin on Monday for that tank. Also, our San Simeon transmission line project, that's our domestic water line from our well field in the San Simeon well fields, and our treated wastewater effluent to our perk ponds there for our discharge to land there for our treated wastewater. We're getting final permitting and going through basically we're at state parks level here trying to get a right of entry. We actually got our encroachment permit with Caltrans. So the last of the 2 difficult stakeholders in there, we're working our way through, and we're hoping to get primary construction and design and engineering for that here by later this summer and break ground on that next year. Also, a couple little side projects we're doing here is some asset management with OpenGov we're beginning, and Mr. Tristan Reaper has been working very hard on the UWMP that we'll release at our board meeting in May. So that's kind of our big rocks, our big projects that we're moving here in the district so far this year.
Thanks, Jim.
You bet. Thank you.
We'll go to next will be Heritage Ranch CSD. Doug?
We're just sit here.
Up to you. You could come.
I'm fine.
Come take the.
I'm going to Doug Rosenberg. I'm the district engineer at Heritage Ranch CSD, and our most recent and relevant update would be we are in the process of finalizing some of the Prop 1 IRW grant funding for a project at our water treatment plant. We have some issues with disinfection byproducts that are stemming from organics. So we for those who may not know, we pull water from under the Nasciano River, and that's our only water source. So we are 100% dependent on what's going on in the reservoir. And so our organics, our turbidity, all those things fluctuate throughout the year. And we found at times of low use, we were seeing higher DVPs because of residence time, and then times of high flow in the river or low flow in the river, we would see different things. So we are we ran a pilot study for a few years, running about 20% of our flow through granular activated carbon after our filters, and with great success. And we found we were able to keep our DVP down for the most part. And so through that grant funding and through our capital improvement program budgeting for it, are installing the capacity for full flow running all of our water through GAC. And so we won't necessarily run all of our water through GAC in order to conserve the GAC, but we can fluctuate throughout the year depending on the quality of the water we're getting, so that we can not only meet standards, but optimize the quality of our water. And as we all know, regulations don't often get looser over the years. So this gives us a bit more flexibility as we move forward with things like PFAS, wherein we do have those issues, GAC would be a viable option for treating those as well. Or if we have, God forbid, have another fire and that loads our reservoir with carbon and fire retardant materials and things like that, it gives us a bit more flexibility with an inflexible water source. We have
a question. Many years ago, because of Cloud 9, there was methylated mercury in the bottom waters of the lake. Is that an issue for you guys to deal with the methylated mercury?
We've never seen it. I've been there 5 years and we've never had an issue with anything like that. We've gotten pretty low in the reservoir. 3 years ago was very low. And that may have helped actually with we've seen some improvement in our overall organics. And that may have helped that we got so low that we may have gotten some of those organics at least out. But as far as the mercury, I don't know anything. I haven't heard anything about that.
Following up, has the nuisance been abated upstream, or is there still a threat? And is that threat exacerbated if there is a wildfire over the area that has been the source of the pollution?
So we have a very large watershed for Nacimiento, and so there's a lot of ag in the area, but we found that our organics changed drastically after I believe it was 2016 fire, the New Rock fire. And so we feel that was a big contributor to that. And we did some research and we found that cyclically it's about a 10-year cycle to sort of get that out of your system in a reservoir type capacity. And we're at the end of that. So hopefully we don't have another one. And that we think that was the larger, that and the lower the reservoir is, the more potential for organics we have in our water because of where we're drawing. We're not skimming the good stuff off the top. We're putting it down in a little bit more of the murk. So the higher the reservoir is, the better for us.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug. Los Osos, Ron.
For people that don't know, we have an adjudicated groundwater system. Parties to the adjudication are Los Osos CSD, Golden State Water, S&T Mutual, and the county. So we formed a strong partnership, especially the early years. We've been working very closely together. For the last 10 years, some cities related judgments. So that is our only source of water, and it's a challenge. Needless to say, we've had high nitrate concentrations in the upper part of our aquifer, seawater intrusion in the lower part, and now the emerging contaminants like PFAS and Chrome 6 are in the upper aquifer as well. So we're very challenged. That said, we worked very hard the last couple of years on the new groundwater model. It's called the transient model. The outcome of what the model is showing that we're seeing continued seawater intrusion even at current pumping levels that have been reduced by almost 50% over the last 10 to 15 years. So we're still in trouble. So with that said, we do have a Los Osos groundwater basin plan that we've been implementing. One of the projects in after the CSD was a new municipal well to the eastern side of the basin and to the south. It took us 5 years to complete that, going through all the permitting, environmental, just everything that it took to get that well up and running, but it was finally commissioned late January. It's operational. We're also looking at more upper production. Like I said, it's high in nitrates and it does have other contamination problems. But we're working closely with Golden State and S&T Mutual to do a partnership to see if we can increase our supplies of sustainable and safe fuel from the upper, using the upper water. So that's in the works. I mentioned our water quality issues that continue. And then finally, our biggest project, it's being CST led, is a intertype pipeline connection with state water in the Choro Valley. Since we're so isolated and we're dependent on a groundwater basin, as I just described, which has many issues, we have no alternative if anything happens within the basin. And it's a challenge, just day-to-day operations, infrastructure's old, well, let's say well goes down because of pump and motor problems. We have trouble keeping up with production. So everything's always on the edge for us. So I do want to explain the state water project is a supplemental water. It's not to be dependent. It's to be used as a way to offset production, to get seawater intrusion, to hopefully hold it back or even gain some ground on it. And it's going to, the coordinated use is to take it when it's available and then have our groundwater basin recover as much as it can during those times, and then use the basin during droughts and extended other emergencies that may preclude the use of that water. We also look at that as our only connection to the outside world. So we are active participants in the countywide water action team and the desal project because we're looking out for the future, not only for the region, but for both systems.
Christine, go ahead.
Thank you. Ron, the pipeline, the Los Osos and to Choro Valley, is that going to be maybe taking advantage of the new bridge that's being put on South Bay Boulevard to maybe you put it alongside or along with that construction project? Does that alignment make sense, or what is your planned alignment?
Well, that's a really great question. When I got wind of that project about 4 years ago, maybe even 5, I reached out to the county public works and the project manager, and they were successful in having their funding, I think it was federal funding, put a portal to the bridge for us. So we actually have a place to put the pipe, and then we will have to install segments north and south of the creek as part of the longer term project. But we'll have to install pipe starting at the end of the year, because once they do the approaches, I mean, I forget exactly how long, let's say 1,000 feet. They don't want us coming back in a year or two and then digging up their freshly paved road.
So they're planning that access for the pipeline to be placed there while they're doing that road project, part of the bridge project. Oh, good.
And that's good planning, and I can confirm as someone who kind of watches the slow hog issues and the transportation issues, that it has indeed been understood as part of the project. So I think both sides are on the same page with that. My question is, are you noting measurable sea level rise on a year-to-year basis or a decade-to-decade basis, and any increasing pressure therefrom in terms of the intrusion issues?
We're not necessarily seeing that. Our freshwater metrics that we do sampling monitoring twice a year, spring and fall. We have to provide an annual report to the courts on the progress of implementation of basin. And what it's showing is our water level, freshwater levels are maintaining, have come up, where we've seen some leveling off during some of the drought periods since 2015, when we started doing the plan for monitoring. So we aren't seeing that type of pressure. I don't think it's sea level rise. Mainly what we're seeing is in the deepest part of the aquifer, there's actually 5 zones. Zone E being the deepest, that's where the seawater intrusion is very prevalent. Most of our drinking water sources are zone D right above it, and we're seeing that start to creep. It did retreat a little bit when production was way down. Now we're seeing it slowly come back. So I don't know if there's that correlation. I guess it's where I'm going. Sea level rise, the pumping, because as you know, we don't see water levels drop. We just see fluorides raise. There's always the level always replaced by seawater.
Thank you.
So it's mostly a production issue.
Very good. Thank you, Ron. San Miguel CSD online. Joey will unmute you in just a moment.
I think we may have stepped off.
No, okay. All right, then we'll, last but not least, we'll go to Jeff for Templeton CST.
Hey, good afternoon, Jeff Rhodes. The last one, so I guess you have 30 minutes.
All the time.
Hey, a couple things about Templeton and our water issues. One thing that's a little that's unique is in Templeton, we for about 40 years have had a wait list for water connections. And so unlike most areas, if you own property, if the right to connect wasn't already established, those property owners got on the wait list. And again, we had properties 5 years ago, we have properties that have been on the wait list for about 30 years. Over the past 5 years, we made a tremendous progress, and as of about 3 months ago, exhausted the wait list, and we currently have about 275 connections available. So we think we're, in the near term anyway, in solid shape, and can accommodate development in a more traditional way. So we can file the property and proceed with development plans and Templeton CST's water supply would necessarily be a bottleneck or a holdup for you. On the project side, a couple of significant projects. We had a deep, we call deep well into the Paso Formation in the Tascadero Basin. Have some significant trouble about 2 summers ago, summer 2024, and so we went through a rehab process with that well. We've had some difficulty getting it back on the line reliably. But hope those issues are resolved and we can have it functional this summer. We're working on a river well replacement in the same area. That well hasn't been utilized in many years, but we have some entitlements to the underflow of the Sluice River, and it'd be convenient for us to withdraw those at this location for blending purposes and whatnot. So we're working on that project now. Design is design phase. And then our most significant water resource project, we call the Nasi Meadow Recharge Recovery Project. We are a Nasi Meadow Water Project subscriber or participant. We currently discharge that water at what we call the Selby Collision Ponds. It's the south end of town, but it's the same site we discharge wastewater. And it's essentially borrowing the availability of discharge area for wastewater. And so the long term, we're looking to get that relocated to allow us to take full advantage of our subscription or our sort of fullest level. We've been able to take up to about 250 acre feet of Nasi water. In the most recent years, that's been like 100 or 150 acre feet. But we have a 406 acre foot subscription. So we're looking to the county's acting with the county to design a new turnout from the Nasi Meadow pipeline to about 50 acres that we own, a couple miles north. The county project's in the midst of the design phase, expected to be done later this year or early next. And then the district's in the early stages of the design phase to design a percolation pond at that site and some additional wells to recover that water supply. So we can, by the end of the decade, that should be in place, and that will further alleviate the water constraints in the community. That's it for Templeton.
I had a question.
Yeah, I had a question as well.
So what changed that allowed the list to go away? Was it a new supply?
Yeah, a couple of things. Over the years, we've adopted some policies that allowed us to model our projected demand against our supply, and we've had some additional growth connections. We about 7 years ago, the district essentially rerouted its wastewater. 2/3 of the wastewater went to the city of Paso Robles in the old days. We routed that back to a wastewater treatment plant, and that, once treated, becomes a water supply that's freed up additional resources. People use less water, so our projections have been pretty flat over the past many years. That's stayed with us significantly. There's been some policy changes internally about how we calculate the buffer. So a number of factors kind of all together that worked in our favor.
And you, at that time, you worked.
That was my question too.
Oh, sorry. Oh, is there somebody online who had a question, or was it? Right, thank you. I think that finishes up the CST reports from those who were present. Is that?
I saw, just see here, Aline, one of the directors from Oceano just signed on, so I think Joey could unmute her and I think we could get an Oceano update.
Sure.
Yeah, Eileen, you're free to unmute. If you'd like to provide some updates. Hopefully. Yeah.
All right.
Hello?
There we go.
There we are. Hello.
I don't know what's wrong with my connection, but anyways, my update for Oceano is the biggest project that we completed this last year was a ground water recharge project, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. It is located at the Oceano Elementary School. And this is really a neat project because it, not only did it take several years to complete and almost $2 million that was funded through the, I believe, Prop 1, California Prop 1, but it'll help immensely with our flooding. As I'm sure you know, I call Oceano Flood City, USA. So it'll help with the flooding, and it also will, boost our groundwater supply by capturing the storm water and then diverting it back to the groundwater so that we can use it. We also replaced some aging and undersized pipes, water line pipes. This was just completed not long ago, I want to say a month or so ago. All the ones that are west of the Highway 1, so all the coastal area ones, we replaced 1,900 feet of 8 to 10 inch PVC pipe because some of the pipes were over 50 years old and of course not efficient. And that was also through Prop 1 California. And something exciting also for Oceano is that we rehabilitated our tank 1, which is our largest one. And it now has a new roof and coating inside and out. And that was funded by the CDBG funds. The fourth project was the rehabilitation of our well 8. That is our main well, our biggest well. We obtained a new well house and a static mixer for the chloramine. So that's my brief report.
Thanks, Ellie. And then I forgot Ed for Nopomo CSD. Thanks, Ed. Sorry.
I showed up late because parking lot was full.
Oh.
And everything else was full. Ray Deans, our general manager, was going to give this report that he probably heard about the parking, so he bugged out. He gave me some notes. We started receiving supplemental water from Santa Maria 10 years ago. And we're now up to 2,000 acre feet per year that we're drawing from Santa Maria, heading towards our 2,500 acre feet per year obligation. Of that 2,000 that we're pumping right now, 1,333 goes to the NCSD, and 667 acre feet each goes to Woodlands Mutual Water Company and Golden State Water Company. We're pumping, because we're taking so much supplemental water, our groundwater pumping is down to 580 acre feet per year. The longest, the shortest that anybody can remember. As far as construction projects, we're getting ready to build a $1 million gallon storage tank to augment the existing 4 storage tanks in the foothill area. We're also preparing to install dedicated water and sewer lines to the Dana Reserve after we get the funding we expect from them in advance of the project.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Anything else from the CSDs? No, thank you very much. Good presentation. Very informative.
Information.
Yeah. It's important to do this.
Yeah. All right. Then we'll go to item 6, ongoing updates, starting with the first one, rain and reservoir report.
Did anyone actually experience rain in this storm we were supposed to have?
Just a little.
I had a comment on that. In that rain and reservoir report, right on the page, but that little tiny little line that is San Luis Obispo had asterisk saying didn't have information for various months. But then where it did have information, it was saying it was all 1 in 400s or something for September, October, November, December, whereas my numbers for those months were all different, completely different from that. So what happened here with San Luis Obispo's reporting?
Yeah, this is meant to be rainfall at the dam. Now, also, I agree, it does seem a little low, so,
No, yeah,
it's
the
there's not a way for us to, that information's not like readily available, we have to ask for it. And it's kind of what we get back from, the staff there at the dam, but there's definitely room for improvement there. And I think you're totally right, something's not right if I doubt they got 1.7 inches in December when everyone else was 4+.
Yes.
Yeah, that's well noted.
Do they have a certified station? What do they use?
No, I actually don't know how they monitor the rain there. That's a good question. It's possible it's that, yeah.
They do have rain gauge at the top of the
Okay.
dam. I'm not sure, you know, if it's professionally installed or.
Yeah.
It's from the leak.
It's not like, yeah, it's not on a website we can go and look and see a public reporting of it, so.
Now, there's a rain station for San Luis Obispo Whale Rock there too. So it's kind of confusing how this is reported out.
Yeah, there's not no, I collect rain from home, and I live in Southside. Way off. Right at 17 inches of rain from September and February, so unless I'm reading this wrong, I feel like it's not happening.
I mean, we have 17 inches for an east side Napomo gauge for,
Yeah,
you know,
it could be, I could be.
there's a lot of variability for sure.
Any other comments or thoughts on rain and reservoir report? If not, moving on to drought updates.
For those keeping track, just wanted to note that the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan, which is the county led, includes all the cities. So covers the actual geographic county, not just the county as the agency. Had its final approval by the Board of Supervisors in January. And I guess I haven't checked to see if all the cities have adopted as well, but you know, for us here, that project is done and it's active and it's so there you go. And then I think that's a 5-year update cycle for that plan.
Groundwater basin management efforts. Flood control zones. Oh, yes, Christine, yes.
You know, some of these basins talk about San Luis Basin, the high priority basins. I would appreciate if there was a little more information sometime. I know that Sigma is not our purview, but you know, and there's always recommended actions, and it's be nice to know what some of the recommended actions are. And I understand that Sigma's not our issue, but at the same time, having information about what Sigma is doing in our county, I think, still plays into maybe something we might want to know a little bit more about it sometimes.
Actually, in the light of the fact that we don't govern the CSDs either, but we benefit greatly from regular reporting from them. would it make the same kind of sense, even though we don't govern the GSAs, to have regular reporting from each GSA in the same spirit as we just took the reports from the CSDs? I guess that discussion goes under future agenda items, but it occurred to me because of what we just experienced, which was very worthwhile. Thank you.
I would second that.
Very good. Let's see what we can do on it.
I don't know if this is an item we can make motions on, but if it is, aye.
Let us see what we can do.
The question's been asked. How about that?
Yeah.
That has not been not asked.
Yeah.
There you go. Double negative on purpose.
It's always slightly troubling that we don't take a more holistic look at the water situation in the county. Now, I will back up Eric on this, I mean, for example, Templeton's sitting right next to Paso Robles and the Paso Robles groundwater basin. They're obviously indirectly affected. And we have this little agency by agency discussion that we just had, which is very useful. But somehow or other, it doesn't get knitted together in my mind. And I don't know how one could accomplish this. But if there was I would like to see all the people messing with water all come together at least once a year and talk about some sense of integration. It troubles me, for example, the largest agricultural areas here with quite large populations are at the greatest water stress. And we don't talk about it, but we're a water resources advisory committee and we're advising the board of supervisors, right? And so, I don't know, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had there's been it's a long-standing conversation about the committee's role and advising the flood control and water conservation district, and groundwater got essentially removed from the district and is now under the county and often doing its own thing and not really managed basins, really not in the purview of the flood control district and water conservation district anymore. So I don't disagree, but it's difficult to, I can't make those conversations happen, unfortunately, from a public works flood control district standpoint.
Could you ask the board of supervisors to change them?
Well, we get to future agenda items, but the group has made ad hoc committees and submitted requests to the board before. You'd be the committee, it's well within your realm to do that. So, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you want to keep this.
No,
we have a hand raised, but.
Well, point of clarification.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, Templeton is right next to Paso Robles, you're correct, but we actually draw water from the Atascadero Basin, not the Paso Robles Basin. So very, very distinct, very different.
We can just barely separates them.
Well, I think we could ask David, but I think there's probably a lot of desire for autonomy among the GSAs, and not another layer of review, but doesn't stop us from asking.
We respect the autonomy of the CSDs as well, whose governance is elected officials in their own right. And we also appreciate their willingness to be transparent with us. And I think that's a very healthy relationship that can serve as a model for a relationship with the GSAs to help us get the whole picture.
I think everybody here recognizes that water is a system. And you have to consider the whole system. It doesn't, can't just exclude a part of it. Come to a meaningful conclusion.
True. Okay. Any other comments then on groundwater basin? Not what a flood control zones.
I want to highlight flood control zone 9 for 20 years. We've been planning, designing, permitting, and then the last few years, this city of SLO has led this, but the zone has been a partner the whole way. Completed construction of the Mid-Higuera bypass project. So there's a system of creek really widening, a couple bypass channels, some significant vegetative and sediment management that has accumulated over the many years. Those in town know that Higuera Street between Marsh and Madonna will regularly flood, for in the flood sense, you know, every 5 to 10 years. So we're having a project wrap party. We're not going to stretch a ribbon across the channel, unfortunately, so we can't call it a ribbon cutting. But we're having a project wrap at 11 a.m. On Friday, and the city and county will be speaking at that, and for any who are interested. So, cool. And if Melissa would like to, you want to introduce yourself for Zone 1A?
Area water resources group of Public Works. I've been here for about a month and a half, so look forward to getting to know all of you and learning from you as I get into the Zone 1A projects and issues we're trying to resolve. There's not too many updates from the last WRAC meeting. I guess the largest one is that all of our 2023 storm-related repair projects have been completed from last year. And then this year, our, I guess, 3 biggest projects that we're focusing efforts on is our watershed programs funding project. That's out for solicitation right now, and we're looking to award a consultant for that job in May before the end of this fiscal year. And what that project will do is looking at our funding needs for the maintenance, repair, improvement of the Zone 1A levee system, as well as other watershed related programs as well. So just looking at a holistic study of how are we going to continue to be self-sustaining for funding for the Zone 1A and the watershed overall. And then kind of to pair with that, we have another project for the Arroyo Grande Creek Levees project. That's a scoping study that is thoroughly funded with the legislative pre-disaster grant in partnership with Cal OES. And that project is looking at essentially flood protection efforts, improvement projects, what can we do to improve flood protection in the area of Arroyo Grande, Zone 1A area, as well as the watershed overall. Just looking at all of the alternatives that we can do. And so those 2 projects are going to be led by different teams, but they're going to be going simultaneously to inform each other. And that one will also be going to seeking board approval before the end of this fiscal year as well. We're targeting May. And so we should have some updates for you all for the next meeting of who that team will be leading those 2 efforts. And then the last project that we're really targeting for this year is the Meadow Creek Lagoon project. And that one is proceeding forward. The 30% design is on our website, so feel free to take a look at that. If you guys have questions, get my information and reach out to me. I'm working closely with our environmental team on that project. And the next step will be moving into the environmental phase and proceeding with that. So that's my update. Nice to meet you all. Please introduce yourself, and then looking forward to working with all of you.
Anything else on flood control?
I've got a question about Meadow Creek.
I'll try to answer.
Yeah, the creek, runs down to that big lagoon, and meets the other creek coming up, Arroyo Grande. But I noticed that south of the campground, the North Oceana campground, there was a big breakout and a new channel there. Is there any possibility of them diverting some of the water out of the lower section to use that as a flood protector a little more? I was quite surprised that it would come out of it during those big rains.
I will note it down, and it's certainly something that I think we can take a look at with our consultant that's coming on this year and seeing if that's an option that we can look into. Hopefully, if anyone else has other ideas for that region too, collect them all, because we want to look at, as many different alternatives we can for the watershed. So thank you for that.
I don't believe we can touch the beach outlet at all. So I don't, it's whatever naturally happens. We can't breach it.
The creek has done it itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right through there.
Yeah. I believe that's the case.
Right. Integrated regional water management.
Now, just a quick note, since it came to the committee twice last year, the replacement projects have been submitted, was approved by the board in January and was submitted earlier this month to the state for consideration. So that's that brief update there.
When do we expect to hear back? Okay.
Hopefully in April.
In April.
So everyone can, so the city and Heritage Range can get to work.
Very good.
So
Anything on April Fool's Day?
I thought about, it's like we're having a meeting on April Fool's Day. We haven't met all year. Just kidding. No, I wasn't gonna do that.
It's a great people.
Right. Master water report.
No, I don't have a significant update that we're just continuing to develop the project and look forward to when we're ready to unveil how it's looking and summary of the types of calculations and the work we're doing. I'm looking forward to that when it's ready.
Next topic is desal. We are expecting the desal team to come report to us at our May meeting 5 weeks from today. And they're also scheduled 2 public workshops on June 21st, one in Morro Bay and one in Grove Beach. So to get public input, Christine.
Thank you. Yes, as we continue to look at desal, I've been reading in the week now about, first of all, something Norway was opening the world's first underwater desalination plant. And now I understand San Diego is putting out a deep pipeline for deep seawater cleaning significantly fewer bacteria and organic pollutants, and the immense hydrostatic pressure at those depths nearly halves the immense energy needed for land-based. So I'm really hoping that whatever we may end up doing, if we do something like desal in this county, that these new ideas that are being put to test now, as I say, Norway and San Diego, that we look at something like that. You no longer have to worry about a concentrated brine and trying to disperse that because you don't have that. And I just am interested in these new ideas, and I want to make sure that our people are hip to it and paying attention to these new options, because we're looking at a 40-year process here before we're going to get something like this going, is what we've been told. So I hope others are reading about this also. I find it very interesting.
Good point, yeah. Very good point.
I believe at their last presentation, the question was asked whether or not they're looking at that type of technology. I believe they are. The scoping process. So hopefully they can give us an update when they come and talk to us about it.
Good.
Find out in a month.
Yeah.
Why alternatives analysis is so important.
Yes. Anything else on detail? If not, then the next topic was various county water programs, policies, and ordinances. And open reporting on water conservation. Oh, yes, Eric.
Okay, yeah, water, some of our most amazing conservers of water are our beavers. And so this is just to remind everyone that on the 11th of this month, Saturday, the 11th, in Mission Plaza from 10 to 3, Beaver Fest. Learn about these allies in water conservation, ecosystem repair, climate mitigation, and just fun creatures.
Very good. All right. Anything else on the last item, open water report on water conservation opportunities and information? Christine.
Since it's open, I'll report on this in spite of it not being local. This last month, I was in Los Angeles for a celebration of the Mulholland Dam Hollywood Reservoir, 100-year celebration, and the Reservoir Walk, and also celebrating Women's History Month. But some of the interesting information that conservation can provide for us, when William Mulholland first started water meters in Los Angeles, there was a huge amount of waste, and he instituted water metering for the first time and enforced it. And the water usage dropped by a full third once the meters were in place. And since 1990, Los Angeles has added over 1 million people. But through their reclamation, conservation, they are using 43% less water now, in spite of having increased over 1 million people in their population. So let's keep on doing our part for conservation, reclamation, and all of those smart things that we do, reducing, reusing, etc.
Thank you, Christine. Any other topic or comments on that topic? If not, we'll go to future agenda items. Any additional future agenda items to the ones we already discussed? Then go to public comment on items not on the agenda. Eric.
Just an observation of how utterly unusual it has been this month. Basically, every place from here to Nebraska, from northwestern Mexico to the Snake River, about 10 days to 2 weeks, an unbroken spell of all-time monthly record temperatures all over the area. Snowpack at a tiny fraction of its normal amount. And I don't know that there is ever going to be such a thing as a new normal. But having experienced, and it wasn't that bad in March, and a protracted spell of temperatures in the North County 25 degrees above normal, the thought that might happen in August, 25 degrees above normal for 10 days or 2 weeks is certainly, well, I don't know, I'd call it chilling, but it's sobering. Anyway, basically, climate action can mean all sorts of things, and some of what purports to be climate action is often greenwashing and counterproductive. But definitely we should all be researching what is most effective, and on a public policy level, recognizing we're not talking about the future, we're talking about the present and the future.
Thank you, Eric. Any other comments?
In the spirit of climate action, I'm off to the bus, so I don't have to wait another hour for the next one. It looks like we're just about
All
done.
right, Eric,
Thank you
we'll
all.
see you in there.
Yes.
Or at the Beaver.
Yes, yeah.
Any other comments for items not on the agenda? For public comment, I should say. All right then. Seeing no other items, anybody online in comments? Forgot to mention earlier, we did have a quorum today. So I'll adjourn the meeting. We'll see everybody in 5 weeks for our May meeting. Thank you, everyone. Big hand of